Meanwhile, the January 6th committee says it's hoping to have even more evidence by Thursday's hearing after putting out a subpoena for the Secret Service for allegedly deleted text messages. The committee issued the subpoena on Friday following a briefing by the Department of Homeland Security's Inspector General. Earlier last week, the IG revealed that after requesting pertinent records from the Secret Service for a probe into the insurrection, the agency said that text messages from January 5th and 6th had been accidentally erased when the phones were reset as part of a device replacement program. Yesterday, committee members expressed optimism that the messages could and would be recovered.
We need them, and we expect to get them by this Tuesday. I was shocked to hear that they didn't back up their data before they reset their iPhones. That's crazy. I don't know why that would be.
I think we're going to know more Tuesday. It is quite crazy that the Secret Service would actually end up deleting anything related to one of the more infamous days in American history, particularly when it comes to the role of the Secret Service.
The Secret Service, for its part, continues to deny that the messages were deleted intentionally. In a tweet on Friday, a spokesman wrote that the Secret Service has been and will continue to be fully cooperative with investigations into the events of January 6th. Joining us now, investigative reporter for the Washington Post, Carol Leonnig, who has reported extensively on the Secret Service. So, Carol, what questions come to your mind when we hear these reports that they were deleted during a device, reinstatement program or whatever the phrase is? Because you do ask, like, were these phones not backed up? Why wouldn't records from all Secret Service cell phones be kept at all times? But you know more about how the Secret Service works. Is it possible that these were deleted in a lawful manner?
Well, you're asking the central question there, Mika. How could this really have happened? Most agencies have pretty much routine training for executive branch agencies have routine training that says, look, these are government communications. We need to maintain and preserve them for the archives. That's part of complying with the Records Act for the federal government. And in the case of the Secret Service, what I'm hearing from sources inside is, yes, people were often told and were told when this reset of all the phones was going on in January, really beginning in earnest in mid-January of 2021, we should be backing up all this material. But in practice, that wasn't happening. I think the huge problem for the Secret Service in this instance and in this investigation is, one, they're not always trusted because they haven't always in their history been very compliant with investigators. In fact, they've tried to bury bad and humiliating information from not just the press, but from Congress. And so their trust level is kind of low. The second
understood. Yeah, go ahead.
And the second huge problem for them, Mika, is that this is such an important piece of evidence. Every communication that happened from December 18th to January 6th is critical. And who are the witnesses to history that stand on the president's shoulder? Secret Service agents. We already know from the January 6th committee that Cassidy Hutchinson, who gave that startling testimony that you focused on so wisely, she was having text messages with Tony Ornato, a Secret Service executive, then temporarily filling in as a White House political aide, also bizarre, but she was having text messages with him that were shown during the hearings. And so we know that they exist from Cassidy's side. It's a question mark about whether they exist on Tony Ornato and the Secret Service's side. And again, I'll just emphasize that second problem for the Secret Service is how in the world could you, after receiving a request for documents actually on January 16th from the January 6th committees, how could you have not been instructing your employees in a more vigorous way? We need to preserve these records. The service has said in this most recent kerfuffle, hey, we didn't get a request from the Inspector General until late February, after we'd already begun the reset of these phones. But the committee reminded the Secret Service, oh, no, we sent you something January 16th. Why weren't you preserving records then?
So a couple of questions. First of all, can't you corroborate the missing Secret Service text messages by getting Mark Meadows? I mean, the ones that you'd be interested in would be communication between the president and the Secret Service or any type of directives. Wouldn't that be through Mark Meadows? Wouldn't that be through Mike Flynn? Aren't there other ways to see these text messages? And then secondly, are text messages missing from many days because of this reset or whatever it is, or just January 5th and 6th?
My understanding, Mika, again, talking from sources who are speaking confidentially, and we haven't gotten an official answer. I think we'll know a lot more on Tuesday, tomorrow.
Yeah.
But my understanding from sources is that lots of records, lots of communications, and by this I only mean text, lots of days' worth of texts are missing from lots of different employees, some of whom were right by the president and some of whom were far, far, far away from him, that these were just not backed up. You asked the question that I think is so smart about, can't we get these through Mark Meadows or Mike Flynn? But as a member, and it's possible, but as a member of Congress, you should expect that the government is maintaining its own records, and you don't have to seek out the information of a terminated national security advisor who got into the White House almost by accident in late December. You expect the government is going to have government records. Mark Meadows is somebody who has resisted subpoena, and the Department of Justice hasn't really forced him to comply. So that makes it very tricky for seeing his phone records before Congress. Of course, the Department of Justice has other ways to investigate, but the Congress is relying on justice to force Meadows to provide information and testimony, and so far that's not been successful.
All right, the Washington Post, Carol Leonnig, thank you so much for your reporting. Thanks for being on this morning.